everyone. So welcome to the fifth chapter under FPD. Here we are discussing about Pontics. So we'll be looking in detail about the design concept of Pontics, different types of Pontics and indications of each type of Pontic designs. References are Rosenstiel and Schillenberg. Star markings against certain points denote repeated questions. So pay attention in these areas. So when we talk about Pontic, we need to know what are the other components of an FPD. So the components of FPD are retainer, connector and Pontic. So Pontic is the part of an FPD that replaces the missing tooth. Abutment is not a part of an FPD. Abutment is the supporting tooth. So the term Pontic came from the term pons, which means bridge in Latin. For an optimal Pontic design, it should satisfy certain biologic, mechanical and aesthetic requirements. These are, first and foremost, it should restore the function of the missing tooth. It should provide aesthetics and comfort. When we talk about aesthetics, it simply means that the Pontic should be shaped to look like the tooth it replaces. It also should appear to grow out of the edentulous ridge, which means it should have a proper emergence profile. It should be biologically acceptable. That is, it should not cause any kind of irritation to the underlying mucosa. It also should not exert any pressure on the ridge. So the Pontic must be having a passive contact with the ridge without causing any blanching of the tissue. For an optimal Pontic design, it should satisfy certain biologic, mechanical and aesthetic requirements. These are, first and foremost, it should restore. It also should have adequate strength to resist the occlusal forces. The concept of an ideal Pontic changes according to the particular case. So the factors which influence the Pontic design are, first one, location of the edentulous space. So the location can be an anterior edentulous space and a posterior edentulous space, or maybe the edentulous space in the maxilla or mandible. So the requirement of a Pontic in the anterior will be different from that of the posterior. In anterior region, more emphasis will be given to aesthetics, whereas for posterior Pontics, more emphasis will be given to cleansibility and maintaining the oral hygiene. Second point is the residual ridge contour. This is determined with the help of Siebert's classification. So residual ridge contour and the amount of resorption and pattern of resorption affects the Pontic design and dimensions to a large extent. The third point is dimension of the Pontic space. So it is the mesiodistal, faciolingual or occlusogingival length which determine the design of the Pontic. The faciolingual dimension of a Pontic must be 2/3 of the dimension of the missing tooth. This is done in order to reduce the occlusal forces acting on the abutment tooth. The faciolingual dimension is influenced by the position of opposing contacts or centric stops. Next is mesiodistal dimension. It should be same as that of the missing tooth. The occlusogingival dimension is influenced by the residual ridge contour. These are the Siebert's classification of residual ridge. So in class 1, there will be a decrease in the width of the residual ridge, but the height of the ridge will be same as that of the pre-extraction ridge. In class 2, the height will be less, but the width will be normal. In class 3, there will be decrease in height and width of the ridge. So in cases of class 1 edentulous ridges, we can give a Pontic of same size as that of the missing tooth. But in class 2 and class 3, since the height of the ridge is increased, the Pontic which replaces the missing tooth will be longer. So since we have to give a long Pontic, if it looks unaesthetic, we can give a gingival porcelain to give a gingiva-like appearance in the cervical part of the Pontic. So when we talk about Pontic mucosal contact, we should keep in mind that the contact must be as minimum as possible, and the Pontic should contact the mucosa only on the attached keratinized gingiva. It should not cause any blanching of the tissue. Glazed porcelain is the most biocompatible material to be applied on the tissue surface of the Pontic, and the tissue surface must be convex mesiodistally and concave buccolingually. Now let's see what are the different classifications of pontics. Pontics can be classified based on the material used, based on the mode of fabrication, and based on the mucosal contact. Based on the material used, the pontic can be made all metal, all ceramic, or metal ceramic, a combination of metal and resin, and fiber reinforced composite pontics. So based on the type of fabrication, the pontics can be either prefabricated or custom made. So prefabricated are the ones which are available in the market, which are readily available, and we can select it according to the particular situation. Custom made is the one which will be fabricated after the tooth preparation, and these are custom made for the individual tooth. These are the few prefabricated pontics. So these are flat back pontics, true pontics, long pin facing, pontips, and reverse pin facing. Flat back pontic consists of a vertical slot which is present in the lingual surface. True pontic, there is a large gingival bulk which has to be adapted to the ridge. It is usually recommended for the maxillary posterior region. It cannot be used in cases where the interart space is not sufficient enough to accommodate the pontic. In long pin facing, there are two pins, and the lingual surface is usually flat. It is recommended for maxillary arch. Pontips also consist of two pins. These are recommended for mandibular posterior teeth, and it is usually having a glazed porcelain tissue surface, and it is more biocompatible. Reverse pin facing pontic is generally the porcelain denture teeth, which is modified to accommodate certain drills which act as a retentive holes, used in cases with a deep bite. Based on mucosal contact, the pontics are broadly classified into two: the pontics with mucosal contact and pontics without mucosal contact. So the ones with mucosal contact are the ridge lap pontic, modified ridge lap pontic, ovate pontic, and conical pontic. Pontics without any mucosal contact are sanitary pontic and modified sanitary pontic. Ridge lap pontic is also called as a saddle pontic. This is because it resembles the saddle of a horse. This pontic covers the residual ridge from buccal and lingual surfaces. So it has a concave tissue surface, and it's very difficult to be kept cleaned. So this is the major disadvantage of this pontic. It looks more like a natural tooth, so it is aesthetically pleasing, but it is not indicated because of the extensive mucosal coverage of this pontic. So the saddle pontic is modified to accommodate the biological requirements, and thus the modified ridge lap pontic originated. So it has contacts only on the buccal or facial side. This makes it more cleansible, and it combines the best features of both hygienic pontic and saddle pontic. So the best feature of saddle pontic was aesthetic. So it has aesthetics because the buccal side of the ridge is completely covered. The contact area of the modified saddle pontic is T-shaped. That is, it has a broader mesiodistal width and a narrower lingual side. So these are indicated in anterior maxilla, anterior mandible, and posterior maxilla. So in these areas where aesthetics is the predominant requirement, we use modified ridge lap pontic. Stain pontic is again a modification of the modified ridge lap pontic. So here the tissue contact is even less. So these are indicated in cases where there is a sharp edentulous ridge and modified ridge lap cannot be accommodated. One of the most aesthetic design is the ovate pontic. So these are partially submerged in a surgically prepared soft tissue depression. That is, it can be used in cases with recent extraction history. So when there is an extraction of an anterior tooth, the site can be prepared so as to accommodate a pontic, and this gives an illusion that the pontic is emerging from the gingival tissue. That is, it will have a good emergence profile. So the residual ridge will look as if it has a depression in the center. That is where the pontic emerges. So this is indicated in areas where aesthetic is of prime concern. So usually for the upper anterior region. Conical pontic, it's also called as the egg-shaped pontic, heart-shaped pontic or a bullet pontic. So it has a one-point contact with the residual ridge, usually at the center of the ridge. This is not at all aesthetic, so it's commonly recommended in areas where the aesthetics is not of a concern. So usually in mandibular posterior teeth with thin ridges. A modification of the conical pontic is called as the spheroidal pontic. So this has a pressureless contact on the ridge and is also indicated for the mandibular posterior teeth. Now coming to the pontics without mucosal contact. First one is a sanitary pontic. This is also called as the hygienic pontic. This is because the pontic does not have any contact with the residual mucosa. So it's easy to clean and maintain the underlying tissues. There will be a space of 3 mm between the ridge and the tissue surface of the mucosa. This makes it least tooth-like design. It has a dome shape or a bullet shaped cervical form and that does not overlap the edentulous ridge. So it's indicated only in areas with least aesthetic concern. So that is the mandibular posterior region. Two types of the sanitary pontics are fish belly pontic and pearl pontic. Fish belly pontic is the conventional sanitary pontic and pearl pontic or the arc fixed partial denture is the modification of a sanitary pontic. So the basic difference is in the shape of the tissue surface. For a pearl pontic, the tissue surface will be concave mesiodistally and convex faciolingually. This gives an appearance of an archway. That's how it got its name. Due to this design, the pearl pontic has an increased strength and increased bulk in the connector region. And also the access for cleaning is available without inducing any stress on the connector. So this is a more durable kind of a pontic when compared to a sanitary pontic. In sanitary pontic, the connector height is less. Now we have a modification of the pontic which is called as an Andrews bridge. This is a fixed removable kind of a fixed partial denture. These are usually indicated in Seabird's class 3 defects. So it basically consists of a metal bar on top of which a removable denture will be attached. So the metal bar is fixed to the abutments and the removable denture can be removed and cleaned. It replaces the missing soft tissue along with the missing teeth. Now let's see what are the different pontic designs that are indicated for each tooth. So for anteriors, we usually go ahead with modified ridge-lap pontic, ovate pontic if it is a recent extraction case, flat back pontic in cases with if you want to use a prefabricated pontic, and Steen pontic is a modification of the modified ridge-lap pontic, so that also can be used in anterior region. For maxillary posterior teeth, the pontic of choice is modified ridge-lap pontic. If you want to use a prefabricated pontic, we can use true pontics and long pin facing pontics. In mandibular posterior region, where maintenance of oral hygiene is a key, we can use sanitary pontics, modified sanitary pontics, conical pontics, spheroidal pontics and pontics in prefabricated pontics. When all other factors are favorable, the design of the pontic will be determined by aesthetics and cleansability. So for maxillary tooth, even if it is anterior or posterior, aesthetics is of predominant importance. This is because when we smile, even the posterior teeth are visible. So in such cases, we cannot use a sanitary pontic. But in mandibular posterior region, it is not visible outside. So even if we use a sanitary pontic, it is not going to show. So in such cases, we can go ahead with a sanitary pontic. So that's how we select a pontic. I hope the topic is clear for everyone. So I'm winding up this. You can get back to us if you have any doubts. Thank you.